I'm Donna Bell, and welcome to our News Channel 7 Digital Plus exclusive Time Travel. Each Tuesday, we are taking a trip back in time through our News Channel 7 archives to bring you stories of past years. In today's Time Travel, we're stepping back to 1999. At the turn of the century, there was new growth and development. Clinton and Bush were all the talk, and the internet was starting to make waves. There were also fears of Y2K, and large-scale preparations were made to keep computers from crashing as we entered a new century. Our cameras captured it all, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this News Channel 7 trip back to 1999.
As we approach the year 2000, it's only appropriate that we stop for a moment and look back 100 years ago. Our area in the early 1900s was far different than it is today. It was mainly a sparsely populated area, rich in natural resources like pine trees and scenic waters, a remote vacation destination for early beach lovers, the foundation for what we would grow on throughout the century.
Those three factors, the tourist and the pine tree and the water are factors that I think contributed to the success of Bay County.
Bay County historian Tommy Smith knows our area. He's 88 years old and he's lived here since 1915. He reflects on what life was like when he was a child.
There were probably maybe 1,000 people in the town, and Millville was the largest community in the county.
There were few paved roads in the first 15 years of the century in Bay County. Life centered in the downtown area, especially in Millville, which was the site of a shipyard. Shipping and supplying lumber from our vast forest was big industry in the area. Turpentine was another industry of the day that thrived off our natural wooded environment.
See, Bay County produced more lineal feet per lumber per day than any place in the world.
Panama City Beach was in its most natural state. It was undeveloped and reachable only by boat.
We'd go by West Bay, we'd go to Southport and go across to West Bay and then catch a rut road that went down to Phillips Inlet. Then we would let the air out of our tires and go up the beach.
The beach was little more than sparkling sand dunes, undeveloped stretches of sugar sand, lush palms, and rattlesnakes. But that all changed.
A turning point for Bay County came in the 1920s when the Hathaway Bridge was built. For the first time, cars could easily drive over the bridge to Panama City Beach, and that brought new industry to Bay County: tourism.
Early beach settlers began to buy beachfront property for considerably less than what it's worth today.
They bought it for $1 an acre.
The beach became a vacation destination, and the 1920s and 30s brought more people to the area. Brother Cy Matheson remembers how Bay County looked more than 70 years ago.
Not all the roads were paved. You didn't have a 23rd Street. 15th Street wasn't traveled too much. There wasn't much traffic there.
Perhaps the biggest boom for our area came in 1931 with the opening of the Panama City paper mill, creating more than 1,000 jobs. It helped protect our area from the Great Depression.
There were 21 bankruptcies on Harrison Avenue in 1929 and 30. And then we were fortunate in the paper mill coming in. And it, of course, protected us against some of the things that would have happened otherwise.
Further growth was prompted by World War II. In 1941, the government forced people from their homes to build Tyndall Field. Probably Tyndall's best-known graduate was movie star Clark Gable, the famous Rhett Butler, who trained at Tyndall during the war. After the war, thousands of people who vacationed here or were stationed at Tyndall decided to stay in the area, transforming a sleepy fishing and lumbering town into a growing vacation spot and home for thousands.
To watch it begin to grow and to see the seed that was planted begin to sprout and to make it into what we have today, which we sometimes forget about.
In Bay County, Donna Bell, News Channel 7. The year is 1950. It's a turning point for the century. The war is over, mass media is booming, and America is changing. For people like Brother Cy Matheson, who will be 90 in January, life was far different from the days when he was growing up in Walton County.
I remember back when I attended church in a horse and carriage.
He also remembers his dad having one of the first Model T Fords in Defuniak Springs, and he remembers when TV was a luxury, not a way of life.
And I was able to get my first TV in Opelika, Alabama. Now that was back in the 50s.
The 50s certainly were filled with wonders and happy times for the rapidly growing Bay County. County historian Tommy Smith was school superintendent, and in 1954 he helped open Gulf Coast Community College.
I was responsible for bringing the junior college here. I was superintendent, and I made them a promise that we'd have the first junior college, public junior college in the state.
Smith says the 50s brought more great things to Bay County.
Industry moved in. They converted the shipyard into an area for industry, and of course the development of the beaches.
Indeed, Panama City Beach became a vacation spot. Small motels and cottages lined the sugary sand, and the 50s and 60s brought about the hangouts, like the Long Beach area, Miracle Strip Amusement Park, and the Miracle Tower. Brother Cy Matheson, who moved to Pensacola in the 30s and moved back to Bay County in the 60s, was shocked by the change.
I could hardly believe what I saw. There was so much development.
TV definitely became the medium of choice in the 60s. It even brought church into the home.
In 1968, the second Sunday of March, we televised our services from First Methodist Church over Channel 7, and they're on every Sunday since.
Channel 7 kept you informed. It hit the airwaves in 1952 and guided you through history, bringing home the big stories, like the day man walked on the moon in 1969, and Bay County's first major hurricane of the century, Hurricane Eloise, in 1975. Of course, Joe Moore was there.
There's destruction up and down the coastline that will be visible for some time to come, and the memory of Eloise will probably be around even longer than that.
Reconstruction brought new construction and more growth.
The second half of the century brought more people to Bay County, and the dirt roads turned into busy main drags like 23rd Street. And all of a sudden, businesses began popping up all around town.
The biggest business to open in the 70s was the Panama City Mall. It redirected the shopping district to 23rd Street, and all of a sudden much of downtown Panama City was deserted. The boom of 23rd Street was further heightened when the two-lane road was expanded in the 80s. But still, our area was a far cry from what it is today, and property was cheap compared to now. Brother Cy remembers buying property on the beach in 1980.
I bought a lot at Bitterwee. Paid $1,100 for it. Last year I gave it to the church when they were building that new building. They sold it for $21,000.
The growth was astounding, but Tommy Smith says it wasn't all good.
There's been a decrease in personal attitude, personal relationship.
But the 90s helped change that. This decade brought a revival of the arts and theater. Downtown Panama City, St. Andrews, and other neglected areas began to shape up with revitalization projects. Hurricane Opal in 1995 forced the end of an era on the beach. The Miracle Strip Tower had to be destroyed, and new, more modern buildings replaced many old ones. Now, the future is here, and the development of Bay County is inevitable, especially now that Arvida St. Joe is ready to develop its massive land holdings. As time moves on, the one thing that stays the same are the families who live and grow along with the area.
I've never lived in an area that I appreciated the people more than I do in Bay County.
Who knows what the future will hold? Donna Bell, News Channel 7.
How can this be? How can 2 letters and 1 number mean so much? How can it make the world worry? 2 letters, 1 number, Y2K. The Y2K Congressional Committee says this worry is real.
If we do not aggressively address the year 2000 problem, the consequences could be devastating.
Devastating to our everyday life. What would you do if suddenly lights went out and you had no electricity for an indefinite amount of time? What if all of a sudden water didn't pour out of your faucets? Are there reasons to be concerned? County and utility officials say no.
Our water department is probably the furthest along in this plan to mediate or make sure that no effects will happen with regard to Y2K.
Based on our current tests, we believe that we will be able to keep power flowing to our customers in the year 2000 and beyond.
But what can we do now? Do we party like it's 1999, or do we get ready for the what-ifs?
If people haven't begun to prepare, they need to begin preparing.
The Emergency Operations Center isn't taking this bug lightly. They're asking you to prepare for the year 2000 as you would prepare for a hurricane.
Being prepared, having that disaster kit in your home can serve you not only during hurricanes and tornadoes, but also during a scenario like this.
Probably our advice would be, if you're going to plan any contingencies, do those based upon what you typically do for a hurricane, because we do think that any outage that occurs is going to be isolated and short term.
So how long have utilities been working to get a handle on Y2K? Gulf Power, working with the Southern Company, started dissecting this bug in 1996, using 500 employees and spending $91 million.
We're about 70% complete with testing, looking at June 1999 to have testing complete, looking mainly right now at generators, transmission, distribution, those systems that are critical to generating power and delivering it to our customers.
Bay County opened a task force and has been preparing for 6 months for the clock striking midnight on January 1st in the year 2000.
We'll have significantly more staff on hand here than we typically would on a normal night, just in case that we start experiencing problems throughout the county with service interruption.
And officials here hope that by taking these necessary precautions, the transition to the year 2000 will be as smooth as any other new year. In Bay County, Mike Jacobson, News Channel 7.
As many of you know, pine trees are used to make paper products. These pine trees, hundreds of thousands of acres of them, will now go to the highest bidder. The St. Joe Company will first sell 100,000 acres of planted pine trees in Liberty, Franklin, Wakulla, and Jefferson County.
Our new business is to develop real estate. So the land that we will hold is the land that has development potential for over the next 25 years.
Since selling its paper mill in Port St. Joe in 1996, the St. Joe Company has concentrated on real estate development. As they put it, out of the paper business, why do we need pine trees? St. Joe's subsidiary company, Arvida, has built a number of housing developments in Bay County already, including Wood Run and Summerwood. St. Joe plans to develop the over 300,000 acres it will have left after this sale. Investment manager Bobby Roberts says that means more homes are coming. Along with them, most likely, could be more industry and jobs.
And today marked probably the biggest thing that's ever happened to make that happen. We're going to benefit because with them coming in, they've got to provide some of the engineering, they got to provide some of the vision, and they're going to have to provide some of the money to make the infrastructure work well enough for them to be able to market their own properties.
John Giesling owns 2 hotels on Panama City Beach. He knows his business depends heavily on the July 4th holiday.
The TDC marketing effort and the fact that our beaches are wide and we're getting repeat customers, I'm looking for a record-breaking crowd.
Just take a look inside the Convention and Visitors Bureau and you'll see the crowds are here in full force. It seems nearly every state in the country is represented in the sign-in book.
We had 600 visitors yesterday and we're expecting even more today. They want to know, where to go to eat and what there is to do, all the attractions and everything that we have to offer here on the beach.
What are you looking forward to most?
The beach.
I would have to say the nightlife.
I would have to say the beach.
No matter what you're looking forward to, you can't forget about the traffic.
Well, traffic's going to be a nightmare, but that's every year, and I think people truly enjoy that. They come down here for the traffic and the effect, to see and to be seen. That's the key factor for most of these people coming down.
The sausage is smoking, the beers are pouring, and the scrambler is swirling. And that could only mean one thing in Panama City. It's Oktoberfest time.
Just looking for something to do. It's a nice day, so I thought I'd come out here and enjoy Oktoberfest, have some beer, and have some fun.
We're having a great time. My sister's down here from Indiana, and I wanted her to come out to the Oktoberfest.
They don't just have beer, food, and fun. They've even got rock climbing.
And as patrons pounded the pavement, vendors enjoyed a decent day of sales.
It's been wonderful. We've had lots of people picking up free literature and buying Southern items, and we're just having a great time.
And law enforcement officers have their own booth at the bash, just to be sure that everyone who comes out to the event enjoys themselves within their legal limits.
There's alcohol involved, and we're keeping a handle on it. We're making regular patrols through here, watching for underage drinkers, and we are arresting underage drinkers, so be aware of that.
But Sergeant McCurdy says, for the most part, so far so good in the way of disturbances. They've only encountered some minor problems at this year's event. In Panama City, Karen Campbell, News Channel 7.
White House aides say the president has openly joked about his inability to use the internet, but he didn't have to be net savvy tonight. Clinton took questions at George Washington University, and his answers were broadcast via video in a webcast, meaning participants could see and hear the president's responses. Experts say about 11% of the public has access to the internet, which is a small percentage compared to how most Americans get the news, but the percentage is growing.
Like thousands of other Americans, I too am trying to talk with President Clinton tonight online in a town hall meeting. I haven't been successful yet, but I'm going to keep on trying.
At tonight's town hall meeting, the president commented on subjects like gun control, uniting divided people both here in the United States and abroad, as well as his plans on life after the White House.
Bobby, most people at tonight's dinner expected the governor to talk about his brother's run for the presidency, but they were disappointed. Instead, Bush focused on some of the work he's proud of.
The largest tax cut in Florida's history, over $1 billion of tax relief for people who were saving and for small businesses, I think was great.
In his speech tonight, the governor also mentioned education and the power of parents to choose their children's schools. Those who paid the $50 to $100 to dine with Bush liked what they heard. The gathering attracted county leaders along with state representatives, but since the governor didn't bring up his other family member in public office, the now governor of Texas and presidential candidate George W. Bush We asked him about it.
I'm proud of my brother and pleased that he's doing so well. And I think he'll be a great candidate for, hopefully, for our party's nomination, and I think he'll be a great president.
Jeb Bush says he plans to help his brother on the campaign trail in Florida next week. Bobby?
Many people in Panama City have fond memories of time spent at the Martin Theater. It opened in the late 20s and has gone through 2 facelifts since then. Director Barbara McMinnis says it's time to change the theater one more time. She would like to see the old building next door remodeled. It would mean an additional 14,000 square feet.
We've been extremely lucky since we got this. We had one lady who gave us almost $20,000 in vintage clothes.
Before now, the Martin Theater had to turn away donations because there was no storage area. But the old building has 3 levels plus a basement, providing plenty of room for offices, a rehearsal area, storage space, and there could possibly be a huge reception room upstairs.
These 3 stories haven't always been used by the theater. In fact, you wouldn't believe the stories these walls could tell.
Many of us know this old building as a former pet store, but it was originally a funeral home.
Do you guys want to go upstairs? Yeah. Are you scared? Yeah.
Beginning in the 1920s, bodies were kept up these stairs, so I wonder if any ghosts will haunt the new theater rooms. Barbara's not too worried about it. She has big dreams for the building.
But on top of the wing space, what I'd like to do is put on a giant deck so that that'll actually be an indoor-outdoor space, so that we can use that for, you know, weddings and receptions and things like that.
I'm standing here with my good friend and pal, King Neptune, formerly Sirloin, and what's that? He says, save me. He wishes to remain here. He's been here since the early 80s. He enjoys the spot. He loves the view down Front Beach Road, so he would like to, what's that? What's that? Okay, it says a little uncomfortable with the poles sticking in his back, but other than that, he enjoys being here. He would like to see you out here this Saturday, high noon. It's May Day for the King.
It may surprise you, but this is music to some people's ears.
I like it. I mean, it's like a public alarm, let you know what time it is. Sometimes you just hear it and don't even have to get up and look at the clock. You know pretty much what time it is.
For 70 years, the whistle at the paper mill has blown to signal shift changes and lunch. But that public alarm was silenced when officials stopped blowing the whistle. They thought they were being a good neighbor. But it turns out those neighbors count on that clock.
When you work, especially in the middle of the day at 3:30, you know when they're getting off, you know, so you know they're coming. So it helps, especially with the traffic.
This pro-whistle woman is not alone. Dozens of other supporters took their cause to the phone. And guess what?
Oh yeah, baby, it's back. It's back.
You know, and I think it needs to be there. Like I said, that's what everybody knows. Hears the whistle and knows it's 12 o'clock when it's 12 o'clock.
Or 12:30. Or when it's 3 o'clock. Or 3:30.
I like it. It don't seem like it'd be right if I didn't hear it every day.
So once again, it seems all is right in the neighborhood. In Bay County, Liz Weaver, News Channel 7.
The
cost of real estate here along the Emerald Coast is so high that developers say they can't afford to build attractive, high-quality apartments or houses that lower-income, hourly wage workers can afford. Real estate broker David Kramer explains why this is bad for South Walton County.
The service industry is stressed because of the lack of home availability or even rental or sale for the workforce in South Walton County, and consequently they're traveling out of county, out of state, negatively impacting the road system, and also spending those income dollars, payroll dollars, are being spent wherever they live outside of Walton County.
But Kramer says there is a way to make affordable housing a reality in South Walton County. Developers can apply for financial assistance from the state, but to help ensure that they get that assistance, developers first need to have a commitment from the local government, promising that it will help out with the cost also. But that commitment has to come soon.
The timing's critical. If Walton County does not make a decision to make a firm commitment for whatever the winning applicant would be by the middle of January, they'll lose the opportunity to turn the first shovelful of dirt for affordable housing by 2001.
Congratulations, as well as a Happy New Year. I'm here at Schooners. Now back to you.
We hope you enjoyed this trip back in time. Join us every Tuesday for this time travel exclusive only on News Channel 7.